Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Heather and today we're going to be doing a video where I read books until I get a bingo. And we're going to be doing thriller horror mysteries for this particular one. So I have made a little wheel and I'm going to spin it and we're going to see what my first book is going to be. So for this particular bingo board, I'm sure it's up here somewhere for you, but this particular bingo board says that if I get a bingo, then I get to go buy a new book. It's always a good deal, right? So we're gonna do that here. And first spin for this particular video. Let's see what we're gonna get. $11. So 11 is read a book set in a creepy house. Okay. I think I have the perfect one. Give me a second. Oh my gosh. The first book that we're going to read is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. Ah! This is her newest release and this is about two sisters and she grew up in a haunted house. Cleo grew up in a haunted house. I also have the audiobook for this because of course I had to get the audiobook for it, but I am so excited to have this in my possession. I actually restarted my book of the month subscription just to get this book, because it's so pretty. And I think it's purple and red and it is just, I'm so excited. So excited. So I have fallen in love with Rachel Harrison's works and yeah, we're gonna read Play Nice by Rachel Harrison for this particular video, the first book, and I'm so excited. So stay tuned if you want to see it. Like seriously y'all, the excitement going through my body is intense. Okay, it's intense. I've been listening to this while I've been working today and I am almost completely done with it. It's a very quick read and the audiobook is really good. I like the narrator. And this book is about Chloe, her sisters. Their mom ends up dying. They did not have a good relationship with their mother. People said that she was crazy. People said that she was neglectful, that she abused Cleo and her sisters. And when she dies, they realize that the house that their mother owned and basically destroyed their family in, she never sold. So Cleo wants to renovate it and she wants to sell it. But her sisters are like, just leave it alone. Don't open those closed doors. Just leave it alone. Let's just sell the house and not worry about it. But Cleo wants to renovate it and she wants to use it as her social media because she is an influencer. She wants to film videos. She wants to post them, that whole thing. But Chloe soon realizes that there are a lot of secrets in the family that her sisters and her dad have hidden from her about her mother. Her mother also wrote a book about her experience in this house. And Cleo finds a copy that her mother left her. She starts to read it and she realizes that there were a lot of things that were left out of the relationship between her and her mother. And also there were a lot of nefarious things that were going on inside the house, being that the house is supposedly haunted / possessed. And Cleo at first Cleo is skeptical. She wants to figure out like why her mother was the way that she was. And she slowly starts to realize that there's something very bad in the house. And she wants to try to get down to the bottom of it and figure out what it is. And she realizes that her mother is not as crazy as everybody says she was. So there is a messy family dynamic in here. You know that I love messy family dynamics. There's sister relationships in here. There are secrets that are coming out. This house is creepy. The thing that's in the house, all those scenes have been creeping me the hell out. And Rachel Harrison's doing a really good job with those scenes. She's also doing a really good job, like she always does, with a character, main character, who is a brat, but you also feel really sorry for her and you understand where she's coming from, because Cleo is extremely, how do I say it? She's the baby of the family. She also knows how to win people over. She knows how to work people. She uses that to her advantage a lot, especially with her dad. And she's like everybody's favorite. She knows that. So I wouldn't say that she manipulates people, but she uses it to her advantage of being adorable and being the baby and all that kind of stuff. And she really knows how to get under people's skin too. And not that I don't dislike her, but she is a brat, like straight up. She is not a likable character, but I am enjoying her just because she is so raw and she is very, very outspoken. She tells people how it is. She wants to figure out what's going on in this house. Nobody's willing to tell her, and she's just getting irritated because people are hiding stuff from her, especially the people that she loves the most. Her sisters and her dad, and her aunt is kind of going back and forth about telling Cleo what's actually happening. I also like that we're getting Cleo's mom's book in here too. Sometimes I don't really like that aspect, but I think that Rachel Harrison's doing a really good job with incorporating that and weaving the present storyline with the past as well. And yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's very creepy. It's creepy. And it also is just talking about like real life issues. And like I said, the messy family dynamics. Cleo not understanding how to deal with her emotions. Not understanding how to deal with her mother's death because she doesn't really feel anything when her mom dies, and she feels guilty about not having those feelings, but she's also like, she wasn't there, so I mean, boo, my mom died, you know. So she's kind of in that limbo aspect where she's starting to learn things about her mom that the stories that people were telling her about her mom are probably not true. So yeah, I like it. I'm liking it a lot. And guess what my rating is? Did you guess? This was a 5-star read. I absolutely loved it. Everything that I said before still stands. I loved the ending. I loved how demons, like your inner demons and like paranormal demons and all of those were talked about in here, and how well they intertwined each other, and just the overall life lessons that were put in here, and how even though you might not like your family, they're still your family, you know, and you would do anything for them, and how some people in your family, you just gotta cut the ties, you know. But I absolutely love this story. I thought that it was really good. I read it in one day, or listened/read in one day. It was great, and I do think I would read this again. Like, it would be one of those books where I just read again, because there are so many things in here that I think that I missed just listening to it while I was working. So yeah, I really liked it. Now let's see what we're gonna read next. Oh, you can see it again. Oh my god, why is it so whitewashed? There we go. Okay, 1. So hide that slice, and sorry if you hear my baby in the background. A psychological thriller. So we're gonna read a psychological thriller next. So I wanted to let you know that I am a little over halfway through My Favorite Girl, or The Favorite Girl, and it's really, it wasn't what I was expecting at all. It's weird. I don't know how I feel about it all the way, just because I have questions, and hopefully the questions will get answered. But essentially we have this girl named Demi who is 19 years old. She's homeless. She ran away from her situation because it was not good at all. She ends up in Charlotte and she has to try to find a job, and she finds a job in the paper that is asking for a housekeeper for this very influential family. And you can hear my baby, he's at my door, he's trying to get in. But she sees this ad, so she goes and she interviews and she gets hired. But there are very nefarious things that are going on, and it's not what she expected at all. She just expected to go in and be a housekeeper, clean toilets, you know. But when she gets in there, she realizes that this family, who is seemingly perfect, they are doing some really heinous things behind the scenes. So she's trying to figure out a way out, and she's trying to figure out how to save some other people that are, you know, in the situation that she's into. And yeah, I don't like it. Like, I don't like the situation. The book itself is okay so far. It has some like passages in here that are forcing you to believe things about Demi that I wish the author would have just kind of left for your own devices, you know, to figure out. There are like passages in here that are very philosophical and trying to get you to like think about things in a deeper way and everything like that. And I don't know if they are what the story needs, because the story is pretty self-explanatory what's going on, and we don't need all those extra things that are trying to get you to realize how bad the situation is, because you can tell how bad the situation is. You can tell that something at the very beginning is not going the way that it should. Like, something is weird about this family, obviously. But anyways, I'm not hating it. It's a... Did you just break my phone? I think you just broke my phone. Thank you. Aha. Bye-bye. 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 Go in there with Daddy. I'll be in there in a minute. But yeah, I don't know. It's something that is a little different than what I'm used to in my thrillers, which is not bad. Well, what I've read in a while, because I've read a few books like this already, but it is, I can tell why a lot of people rave about this book and like this book, especially if they are just getting into thrillers, because it's pretty dark. It's one of the darker thrillers that I read in a while. I've been reading a lot of like mystery thrillers lately, and this one's just straight psychological thriller, and you're like, you know. But yeah, I'm back. I got my nails done. I got the cat eye, red cat eye. I love them. They're cute, very cute. But I finished The Favorite Girl, and I'm giving it 3.5 stars, like I thought that I was going to. At times it was a little over the top and kind of hard to believe, but overall it kept me engaged. The story itself was very dark. It was something that I was needing at the moment, and I immediately went and downloaded the second book because the first book left off on a cliffhanger. The second book is called The Caged Girl, and we're still following Demi after everything that she endured in the house that she was in. So it's on my Kindle. So I just wanted to let you know that, yeah, 3.5. It's not a horrible thriller by any means. I think that this would be a good one for people who have read psychological thrillers that want more of disturbed characters, hostage situation, that kind of thing. Just read all the trigger warnings before you go into it, because it is very dark. There are multiple rape scenes, if you want to say it that way, on page. They're not very detailed, but you get the gist of what's happening, and it's unsettling in a way. obviously, because of the scene itself, but it's unsettling. And just go into that book if you want to read it with the knowledge that it gets pretty dark pretty quickly, and it's not a fun read at all. It's gripping, it'll keep you engaged, and it's a little over the top sometimes, but other than that, it was a decent story. So we're going to spin the wheel to see what I'm going to read next for this particular video. And let's see. What do I get? 20. Let me have that slashed right quick before I forget. 20 is read a book with a cover that scares you. I try not to keep books with covers that freak me out all, but I'll look for one and see what I can come up with. Alright, so this one kind of creeps me out a little bit. Devil Kills Devils by Johnny Compton. I read Spy House, was it last year? The year before last, and I really enjoyed it. This was about a woman who I think has to, it says, takes you on a terrifying race of a woman against the hordes of evil. And I know that it's about demons, it's a supernatural horror. The cover doesn't terrify me, it's just kind of creepy. And yeah, so I'm pretty sure my library has this on audio as well. So I'll see if I can get it on an audiobook. But yeah, otherwise, we're gonna read Devils Kill Devils. I finished Devils Kill Devils, and I'm giving it a 3.75. This one was very odd, but I liked it. But I was also very confused. A lot. And it's about a woman named Sarita, and she gets married, and then something ends up, and this person named Angelo ends up killing somebody that she's very, very close to, and her life just ends up spiraling. And then we learn about who Angelo actually is, and we learn about a lot of other things that are going on in the world, and the person's mom is involved as well, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. It did remind me, the writing style of, obviously, Johnny Compton, but it did remind me of his writing style with Spy House, and how just kind of chaotic it was, and disbelief, like me having disbelief throughout the book about if what's really happening is happening, or if it's imagination, or if it's a fever dream, or, you know, what's actually going on. And I can see why a lot of people didn't like this book, because it is just very far-fetched, and you have to disbelieve. And it is slower, and it does kind of dwindle down in the middle, and then it kind of goes like that. It's like a roller coaster. Okay, all the emotions are in here: grief, anger, rage, and people preying on vulnerable people as well was in here a lot too. And I don't want to like right out tell you what the devils are, because I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but I was not expecting it to be what it was, like what they were, and I couldn't stop reading it. The audiobook is really, really good too. I listened to the audiobook a lot, and I was just kind of like, whoa. Many times. I said that many times. It's very brutal, it's very gory. He does not shy away from all of the gruesome scenes, which I enjoyed. And yeah, it's a weird one. Very weird, very odd. But I didn't hate it. I didn't hate my time with it. I was just kind of like, okay, didn't see that coming, you know? So let's go ahead and spin the wheel and see what we're going to be reading next. I am extremely hungry and my food just went off. So good timing. Okay, let's see what we're going to get. What is that? I can't see. Oh, it's 18. Sorry if you can't see. There you go. 18. Okay, read a book from your TBR or read a book from your TBR that's been on there for over 6 months. Okay, now what I'm going to read, You're Fatally Invited by Andy Paligo. It's a thriller. This was also one of the Literary Dead Book Club picks. I don't remember which month it is, but I know it's been over 6 months. I had the ARC, didn't get to it, but I do have the audiobook for it. So we're going to be reading that. Yeah. Hi, I am halfway through You're Fatally Invited by Andy Paligo, and so far so good. We have a group of authors who were invited to this mysterious remote island by this mysterious author who nobody knows what they look like, and yeah. And we have Mila, who is the coordinator of the island. She is the person that everybody is just like following around and stuff like that. And these authors don't know why they were invited to the island, but they see remote island, all expenses included, and they're like, I'm going. So they decide to go, and then people start dying mysteriously. We're following a bunch of characters, which I'm not minding. Like, sometimes I have an issue with that, but in this one the characters are fleshed out enough so it's easy to follow, and honestly they don't last that long. Like the characters themselves, so they're just kind of dying off one by one, and it's a big game of Clue, and I absolutely love books that are like the closed room mysteries and people unexpectedly dying and the mystery behind it. And I am liking the ominous feeling that you have of Mila speaking to you, because she's saying you a lot in here, and it just brings like a feeling like, you ain't talking to me, heifer, you know. But she's talking to the person that she wants to bring down, and they're on the island obviously, but you don't know which of the people it is, and everybody has a secret. These people aren't good people, and I'm interested to find out who the you is. Like, who is the bad person that we need to dislike, because I am not disliking any of these characters. They all have their like own little quirks and everything. I think the one that I dislike the most, his name is Fletcher, but that's just because he's just an asshole. But not that he's done anything to me specifically, but he's a little different. But not disliking this book. Interested to figure it out. The audiobook is really good. I'm liking all the different narrators and everything. But I'm just interested, who's the you? Is it you? You know? Who's the you? But I guess we shall see. Hopefully pretty soon. But yeah. Okay. It's late. I'm about to go to bed. But I wanted to let you know that I ended up finishing You're Fatally Invited by Andy Paligo, and I'm giving it a 3.75. I thought that it was pretty decent locked room murder mystery thriller, and I appreciated all of the like twists and everything like that. There was like a double twist at the very end that I didn't particularly like all that much. One of them, at least, I didn't like one of them. I wanted something else to happen, but it didn't happen the way that I wanted it to. So kind of salty about that. But I think if you're looking for like writers, a lot of mystery, a lot of tenseness, quirky characters, but also characters who have a lot of past issues that they're trying to hide, but they're also trying to like overcome, and all that, and you like deadly games like Clue, or what are some other deadly games? Squid Games, maybe? No, probably not Squid Games. I've never watched Squid Games, so I don't know if that was a good interpretation. But Clue, yes, if you like Clue, you will like this, most likely, I think. But for a debut, I thought that it was really good. I will keep my eye out for this author in the future, because I did enjoy the story for the most part. There was just some like little bitty things throughout that I was like, you know, a little bit too clever in some parts, you know, but overall pretty decent. I'm gonna round it up to a 4 on Goodreads and stuff like that. So yeah, I did not hate it. But we are gonna spin the wheel. I thought I already had it pulled up, but I closed it on accident. To pick our next read. Plus the book card, got it in front of you. What is it? God. 16. 16. Okay, what's 16? Let's see. Read a horror book. Okay. Okay. Let me go find one. Alright, we're going to pick a book off my TBR cart. So these are the books that I want to read before the end of the year. Because I already read most of the books on my 25 books of 2025 for the year. So I put some more on there. Anyways, you don't need to know that. But I want to pick something from here. And I'm thinking Indian Burial Ground by Nick Medina. I read Sisters of the Lost Nation last year. I really enjoyed it. And I've been wanting to incorporate this in a vlog somehow. I have the audiobook for it. So I think I'm gonna do this one. I think I have chosen my next pick. So yeah, Indian Burial Ground. We're gonna be reading this. And I will keep you updated on how I feel about it. Very bright at the moment, sorry, but wanted to fill you in and let you know that I am a little over the halfway mark in Indian Burial Ground, and wow, that's really steamy. I was expecting this to be more horror-y, you know, but it is very much rooted in the horrors of like addiction and poverty and racism and all of those things, mental health, and just real life horrors that I was expecting it to be more like a supernatural thing, you know. Sorry, I'm so twitchy. I feel like I have something crawling on me right now. But yeah, so it's not what I was expecting. With that being said, I'm not disliking this story at all. I'm just having to reconfigure my brain a little bit because I was going into this thinking that it was going to be like a, you know, supernatural horror, but it's really not. And it's just so sad to read about how people who live on reservations and how indigenous people, how Native people are treated, and the things that kids have to go through, like alcoholism and drug use and all of that, and how they are having to take care of their parents rather than their parents taking care of them. And it's just so freaking sad. And I can tell why some people would not like this story, because it's talking about the real life horrors. And if you've never seen these things or lived through these things and you can't relate, and it wouldn't be considered horror to them. But y'all, this story it's deep. It is so deep, and I've had to stop a couple of times just because gotten kind of emotional, and you would have to read this book in their correct headspace. Definitely. Not a lot triggers me, but when you start talking about, or like reading about, or anything like that, addiction and how it affects families and kids and all that, that really gets me. So yeah, I'm having to my brain a little bit, kind of disassociate a little bit to that kind of stuff, and I really feel for Louis and I really feel for Naomi. Because they, like Louis, you get the backstory about him and his family growing up, and is it Noemi? And his niece Noemi growing up too, and he is, I think he's like 15 years older than her, like 14, 15 years older than her. So while her mother Lula is going out and working, he is responsible for taking care of her. Technically the grandmother is supposed to be taking care of her, but grandmother is dealing with alcoholism, and that has taken over her life. And at the time, Louis doesn't really understand what's going on with his mom, but he does take care of his niece, and he also starts to babysit another toddler in the area. So he's only in high school, but he's on like summer break and everything. But it just shows that the generational things like that, where teenagers are responsible for younger siblings, and especially when your family, like the mom has, like Lula has to work to provide for her daughter, and how it takes a village to raise kids. So it is talking about that. But the horror aspect of this is that there are deaths that are happening, and as when you're reading from I keep wanting to call her Naomi, and that's not how you pronounce it, but that's how it is in my brain, and I'm trying to get it. But she is older in her chapters, and somebody that's very close to her ends up dying, and people are thinking that it is self-inflicted, but Louis' chapters are going back in the past where a specific type of vampire is said to haunt or hunt in the reservation, and he's going through like all of during that one summer, and he is seeing all these people in the reservation that he is close to dying in mysterious ways. And the way that it's connecting, I'm seeing where the story is going, and that's where the horror is going to come in, like the actual like paranormal horror or supernatural horror, whatever you want to call it, coming into the story. But y'all, the story is hitting it. It's hitting me hard. It's hitting me hard. But yeah, I just feel for these characters. I want to hug them, especially when you're a teenager and you think you're grown, but then when you grow up, you really aren't grown. And just thinking back to all that is very sad. Yeah. But yeah, it's not a bad book. I'm enjoying it. I like it. And I think Louis' character is really funny. Nick Medina is really good about throwing in humor in serious topic, like at serious times. And I think that he does that very well. He did that a lot in Sisters of the Lost Nation too, where you probably don't need to laugh, but it's just that like dark humor. And I appreciate that a lot. So yeah, that's my update. I'll let you know how I feel about the rest of it. It's late, but I want to go ahead and spin the wheel to see what book I'm going to read next. I just finished Indian Burial Ground, and I got to sit on it for a little bit because y'all, that book just ripped my heart out, okay? And I got to sit on it a little bit before I can actually talk about it. But I want to spin and see what is going to be next. We're going to be reading this time 13, which is the free space. I already know which book I'm going to read for that. Let me get it right quick. If you don't follow me on the Instagram, I did post They're real on YouTube too. I picked out these because they matched my nails, but the free space is going to go to the Roanoke Girls. I've had this book on my TBR and on my shelves for years, so we're going to finally get into it. I know it's about women, generational trauma, all that, and it's supposed to be spooky, so we shall see. Sorry you don't get to see my face right now. I know you're so upset about that, but yeah, we're going to be reading this next. I just got back from the golf course and I am tired. Being a passenger princess is not for the faint of heart. I read half of one book or I finished a book and then read half of this over half while we were riding around. It equated to about 4.5 hours of golf today, and I'm just tired. You know, I'm just tired. But before I get into this, I wanted to talk to you about Indian Burial Ground. So it's been a couple days since I finished that book. I'm giving it 5 stars. That book was just so emotional, and it was scary, and it's about everyday horrors, like I said before, but there is a supernatural horror in here too, and it's really just about like looking into who you are, and we can do horrible things and still be a good person, but then there is like literally just true evil out there in the world, and it's trying to figure out that balance between those two. And this spirit that is wreaking havoc on the reservation, it is pure evil, but it's also a natural spirit, like a nature spirit. So okay, maybe it's not pure evil. It's doing what it is always done, you know. It doesn't know if it's good or bad, but it's just taking over the reservation, and it's causing people to do things that they normally would not do. And Louis and his family are caught in the middle of it, and he's trying to save his family. And it was one of those heartbreaking stories, and it was such good storytelling. There were some things about the book that I didn't like the JL character. I did not like him whatsoever. I thought he was a disgusting person, and he was Louis' quote-unquote friend, but I did not like him at all. But overall, this book, it made me cry at the very end because it is just so sad. And seeing what Louis and his family had to go through, and then seeing Noemi have to go through what she went through with her boyfriend. Like, these people, I just wanted to give them a big hug, okay? Just wanted to give them a big hug. And I would not have been able to talk about it the night that I finished it, because I sat in my office and cried for a good 5 minutes just because it was so sad. It talked, like, the horrors of addiction, the horrors of generational trauma, and watching those around you going through addiction just destroy themselves, you know. And it's just really, really sad. It's very, very sad, but it was such a good story. It was so powerful, and it's going up on like the top 10 of my favorite books this year, no doubt. And I'm going to be thinking about it for a long time. But yeah, it was good. So, going into another depressing book, The Roanoke Girls. I got halfway through this, and this is also about a family. They are the Roanokes. And we are following Lane. And Lane's mother ends up committing, and she has to go live with her grandparents because there's nobody else in her family. And all of her family is girls besides her granddad. I thought that was really weird at first. I thought maybe, like, you know, some witch thing was going to happen or whatever, but I was not expecting this book to go the way that it was, because this book is dark, and it It is one of those tropes that is just pure disgusting to me. Think about it. Only guy around a whole bunch of women, a whole bunch of girls. Even if it's their granddad. And we are slowly getting to see who this man actually is, and just like how charming he is and how good looking he is. And then slowly Lane, as she's telling the story of what happened to her when she was young, comes to light. You're like, that's freaking gross. The reason why Lane goes back to her family home is because her cousin Allegra ends up missing. And there's a history of the Roanoke girls either dying or going missing by the time that they're in their early 30s, if not before then. And it's just really weird. The town knows that something's not right, but the Roanoke family has a lot of money. And if it wasn't for the Roanoke family, the town would literally be a ghost town. And they just kind of turn their head, blind eye, and they don't pay attention to what's going on in this family home. And it's disgusting. And we're also getting past chapters, like it's past present chapters, but we're also getting chapters from the actual Roanoke girls and seeing what these girls have gone through. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's making me, like, I was listening to it at one point when we were on the golf course, and I had to stop listening to it because there was a scene in here and I was like, oh my god, that man is nasty. And the grandmother, she is no better than him whatsoever. She's possibly, I'm not going to say worse, but they deserve every bad thing that's fixing to come to them, and I hope that they get it. But yeah, I have a lot of feelings about this book. Obviously it's pissing me off, but it's supposed to. If it doesn't make you mad, there's something wrong. I finished the Roanoke Girls, and I'm giving it giving it a 4.25. It was a really good book, but it was really hard to read. It was one of those books that's just draining, but you can't stop reading it because you want to know what's going on in this family, and you want to try to figure out all the mysteries behind the family. It's pretty obvious, but this is where that psychological stuff comes into play for me. And true crime, it reminded me of a true crime case where you have this family, they're very influential, but something's just not right about them. And then when you find out what's going on, you're like, how did no one know what's going on in this family? How did everybody just turn a blind eye to the weirdness of this family and the women of this family coming up missing or leaving or, not sticking around? And just because they're rich, they got away with it for so long. And I felt so sorry for Lane and all of the women except one, technically two women of this family. But it's disgusting. It is disgusting what was going on. It's, like I said, it's a very hard read. This book is very sexual as well. But when you start to read it and start to understand Lane, start to understand Allegra and all of these other women in this family and why they are so sexual and why they are sexualized, you understand why. It's just all of the generational trauma. It's the trauma that they are living in constantly and being groomed by somebody that they trust and all of these things. It's one of these books that just like hits you in the gut and makes you feel sick, but it's super important. Like, it's so important. But yeah, 4.25. I thought that it was done very, very well, but it's not an easy book by any means. And read all the triggers before you go into it if you need to, because it is not lighthearted whatsoever. So we're gonna spin the wheel. Hopefully I get something a little bit more fun. because I've been reading some pretty hard books lately. So looking for something a little bit more on the fun side. What is that? 24. What is 24? 24. Ooh, read a book by a female horror author. Like, I already filled out my bingo card. Let me go get it real quick. I'm excited about this one. I don't know if it's going to be fun, but it's a different pace. So we're going to read I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast Is Me by James and Shay, and this is a YA horror. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be fun by any means. It's a horror book about trauma and all of that, but I've heard really, really good things about it, and I've been seeing everybody read it. And when I tell people that this is on my TBR, they're like, you absolutely have to read this book. Like, you have to get to it. So everybody's been telling me I need to get to it. Everybody's been telling me I'm going to love it. So we're going to read this next. I'm going to fill you and let you know that I am halfway through I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast Is Me. This story is about obsession. Our main character is extremely obsessed with being the best of the best in the ballerina world. She wants to succeed. She doesn't care about anybody who's in her way. She's going to do what she needs to do to get there. And even if it's making a deal with a god, or I believe it's a god. Yeah, a god in the catacombs, like the Paris catacombs. And she loves the power. She loves it when she gets it, and she's gonna be the best ballerina ever and succeed and get out of poverty, make a name for herself, and she wants that respect that she deserves. I mean, she does deserve the respect, and she's very talented. She's not everyone's favorite, but she's very confident in herself, and when she gets the notoriety that she deserves, she's like, this is how I'm gonna get it. This is what I'm gonna do. And there is a twist to this power that she receives, and she's slowly starting to realize that it's probably not good, and it is life or death at this point. But I really don't think that she's going to care who she hurts getting to the top. And I'm interested to see how this dude that came in, what is his name? Like, I wish I could remember character names. That would be great. But the guy that she runs into and is in here is, I don't know if he's helping her per se, but he knows about this blood river. A lot of people know about this blood river in Paris, and that's how they become famous. That's how they get the things that they want. It's basically, you tell the river what you want and it gives it to you, but you also have to do what it tells you to do as well. Otherwise you pay the ultimate price. She's realizing that, and like I said, I don't think that she's going to care who she hurts in the process. But I am enjoying this. The ballerina aspect of this is cutthroat, and I knew that ballerina, like the ballerina world, is cutthroat anyways, but dang, these people, they don't care who they hurt, even if they don't have the power or not. They are mean as hell to each other, and some of these people deserve what they get. I'm just gonna say it. But yeah, it's an interesting read. I don't know if it's going to be my absolute favorite, but I am going to be able to appreciate what this author is doing, because our main character is not extremely likable. She's very morally gray in a lot of ways, but she's also had a lot of trauma in her life. She doesn't have a family. She's had to survive on her own quite a bit throughout her entire life. and she's just out for herself. So I don't think that that makes her a bad person by any means. But yeah, it's questionable, some of the things that she says and does. Even before she got the power. But I can see where she's coming from with a lot of the things, because these people are hateful as hell. So I finished I Feed Her to the Beast and the Beast Is Me, and I'm giving it a 3.5 star. Everything that I said earlier still stands. This is a brutal story about power, obsession, making sure that you get to where you want to be no matter what it takes. And our main character does not shy away from that whatsoever. She goes after exactly what she wants. She gets, you know, she's not going to stop until she gets what she wants. She's not going to tear people down. But she still does have a very caring heart. In the midst of all of that, she still cares, and she still wants the best for everybody around her. And she gets lost along the way, but she's 18 years old. So she's still learning about the world. She is gonna make mistakes, and she does make mistakes, and that's one of the things that I do appreciate about this specific author and writing the mistakes of all of these characters, really, and them having to learn from their mistakes, even if it's a hard way to learn. And our main character goes through that. But I do think that a lot of people would like this. It's not a bad book. The pacing is a little off sometimes, and it's a bit dramatic at times, but overall, very dark, very brutal, interesting premise, and I think that I will read more from this author, especially if this author writes an adult book. Oh yeah, I think that'll be my jam. Okay, I think that'll be my jam. But not bad, not bad. We're gonna spin the wheel, see what I get next. Let's see. 21. Okay, 21. 21, what are you? Read a cozy mystery. Okay, let me go get it real quick. Let's read some Lucy Score. I've read Lucy Score in the past, but only her romance. I am interested to see how she writes cozy mysteries. This is a chunky book. It's a little over 450 pages. I have the audiobook for it. So we're gonna read this next. Little cozy mystery up in here. I didn't think I was going to enjoy my time as much as I am in this book, but I am just enjoying my time. So this is a good mixture of Finlay Donovan and Vera Wong. Good mixture of both, okay? You have found family, you have a sleuth who probably shouldn't be doing anything with the crime, but she gets wound up in it, like she gets caught up in it. In this one, Riley is a clairvoyant, so she can hear people's thoughts and everything like that, and she ends up seeing her neighbor's murder happen. And she knows that's going to happen, she just doesn't know when it's going to happen. And when it finally does happen, this PI person named Nick is also trying to figure out like what's going on with the murder too. Somehow he was, I believe it was like tax stuff, like whatever, but somehow he was trying to get information about the dead guy too for one of his clients. So Riley and Nick end up being like helping each other with the case, but they're also super attracted to one another, and I'm just loving it. Like I have read / listened to almost 300 pages just today. It's very easy to get through. It's making me laugh out loud. Riley lives in this nursing home community, and they are all so freaking funny. I want to be Miss Penny when I get older. Like, she is my goal in life. And I really just like all of the relationships that Riley has with all of her roommates. She lives in a retirement population. These two twins never had kids. They don't have any other family, and they just decided to like open up their mansion to other people who need rooms, like room and board. They have shared bathrooms, they have a shared kitchen. It's just like their own little community in this big mansion, and I freaking love it. I am enjoying it so much, and I'm ready for Nick and Riley to get together. This is more, it does have romance in it, but it is more about the investigation process of it, like of trying to figure out what happened to this guy named Dickie, who killed him, murdered him. And the town that they live in is super corrupt as well. There's something going on. Okay, so Vera Wong, Finley Donovan had a baby. This is the book, and it has some supernatural elements to it with the clairvoyancy and everything. And you're getting Riley's family in here too, and then you're getting Nick's brother I think he's his biological brother. He might be his brother-in-law. Either way, you're getting like all the family aspects in it too, and I'm just really liking it. Okay, I'm really liking this. I'm liking this a lot more than the other Lucy Score book that I read, and I'm just happy that I'm enjoying it. I don't know if it's going to be a 5-star, but it's going to be on up there if it continues the way that it's going. And Riley and Nick just need to do it. Oh, and also a dog has been introduced in this book. His name is Bert, and I'm pretty sure he's a Mastiff, and he's adorable, and I'm just loving it. Okay, loving it. Wanted to fill you in and let you know that I'm giving this I'm giving it a 5-star. It was adorable. It was a good time. It had all the action in it. It had all the steam in it. It had the great main characters, the great side characters, and I just really enjoyed my time in this. I'm going to continue on with the series. I just loved it. Okay, I loved it. Was it perfect? No, but it was great. It was a great time. So we're going to go ahead and spin the wheel and see what we get next. Let me get it pulled up right quick. Spin it and see what we get next. What is this? 9. I think that's the one that keeps me up all night. Yeah, I can't do the one that keeps me up all night at the moment because today's Sunday and I have to work tomorrow. That was supposed to be for the weekend, like where I stay up and read it all night, you know. Can't do that right now. So we're gonna spin it again. We got 8. A detective thriller. Where is that book? Sorry, I have all my books listed on my bingo board. Oh, I think it's in my room. Okay. It's Little Eve. We're gonna read that. I've had that on my bookshelf for a long time, and I think I need to read it. Pretty sure it's about a murder that happens at this school, possibly. I'll fill you in and let you know when I figure out what it's about. There it is. Oh my god, come off. Did I take the sticker off? No, but I got this for a bargain. And we're gonna read this one. I've heard so things about it. I've heard it's more like gothic-y than it is anything. Ooh, it's based in Scotland. Chief Inspector Black arrives to investigate a brutal murder. Ooh, okay. So it seems like it's gonna be one of those slow rollers that I like. But yeah, we're gonna read this next. Wanted to let you know that I am about 100 page, no, how many pages? 60? I don't know. Y'all know, I don't know math. About 70-ish pages before I am done with Little Eve. I didn't realize that this was the type of book that it was. I thought it was going to be more of like the detective, really figuring out what's going on with this island and these weird people. So there's a guy named John, there's Alice, Sarah, and a bunch of kids. Okay, bunch of kids. We are really focusing on Evelyn slash Eve, and also, is her name Dana? Dina. Sorry, Dina. And they are sisters, I believe, cousins, something like that. Not really sure what's going on. Well, I mean, I understand what's going on, but I don't want to ruin it for you. Anyways, at the very beginning of the story, we come across this family all dead. And there's one survivor, and they tell the person who killed the rest of the family. It's very gruesome, but it's also like, it's also not overly grotesque. The writing itself is very easy to follow. Very short, simple sentences. Very, not choppy, but just very like, here you go. And at times I have enjoyed this book, but then other times I find it really slow. The pacing is just not all there for me. For this to be such a short book, it's only like 260 something pages. The pacing, it feels like I've been reading a 500-page book. It is slower. It's very haunting. None of the characters to me are likable. I can see why they're not, which is not a big deal to me. But when you find out what's actually going on this little island, and then the town that's like near the island knows that something is happening on the island, but they don't do anything or they don't investigate, is really weird to me. I know this is like the 1920s or whatever, and people are like out of sight, out of mind, but there's kids involved, and I'm like, if you know that something nefarious is going on, you should probably pay attention if you are, you know, of authority. But John and his family have very, very strange beliefs. They're very odd. Very, very odd. There's animal sacrifice in here. There's possible child abuse in here. I believe. It's not depicted on the page, but I do believe that that's what's going on. And yeah, it's kind of culty. Kind of culty. When I picked this as a detective book, I just saw like Detective Black's name in here. Or Chief Inspector Black in here. And I was like, okay, it's a detective book. It's not. It's a detective book, sort of, but it's more based on like the family and following Eve. Eve's chapters, this is something that gripes me all the time. Eve's chapters are like 70 pages long. They're literally almost all of the book. Luckily, I'm listening to it on audio, because if I was having to read these long ass chapters with my eyeballs, I probably wouldn't finish this book. I don't know if this book is going to be a very highly rated book unless something like at the very end happens, but it is very gothic-y. There's great atmosphere. I'm just not really enjoying the overall storytelling, if that makes sense. So I'll continue and I'll let you know how I feel. Let's talk about it, because this was not my jam. I'm giving it 2 stars. 2 stars really for the atmosphere. The overall story itself did not capture my attention like I wanted it to. It also was, I don't know, I just didn't connect with the writing all that much. And it was extremely slow. And I like slow. But this was like snail pace slow, to the point where I zoned out multiple times, and I had to go back and reread sections. The twist at the end was pretty good, but I don't know, there's just something about the writing that I could not get into. The writing just took me out. It was very short, simple sentences. It took forever to get to the main issue of things, and I didn't really connect with the characters in a way that I wanted to. The atmosphere of this, though, was very dark. It was very haunting. It was very just messed up, and I really liked that part of the book. But the characters, besides Eve and Dina, felt very two-dimensional to me, and I just didn't, I just didn't really vibe with this book all that much. I will be passing it on to someone else, but I'm not sad that I read it. It's just not my thing. So before my camera dies, let's spin the wheel and see what we get next. $17. Read a serial killer story. Okay, cool. Alright, I'm gonna go look in here, and then I'll get back to you. We're back in here again in my room, and for the serial killer one, we're gonna read 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. This has been on my bookshelf for a while now, so we're gonna read this one. Let me know if you've read this and how you feel about it. I have read one Peter Swanson in the past. It wasn't my absolute favorite. Oh, there's my deodorant, sorry. It wasn't my absolute favorite, so let me know in the comments what you thought of it. So I didn't update you at all with this book because I literally read it in one sitting. I was sucked in at the from the very beginning. I am gonna give this a 3.5 though, because it did get a little boring near the end, but overall this kept my attention pretty much the entire time, and all the murders that were going on, I was like, dang, this person is not giving up. I liked the backstories that we got about all the characters. I thought that they were very relevant. I also thought that the person who was doing all of the murders, not that I condone murdering or anything, but I could see why they were doing it and why they wanted all of these people dead. Though some of the killings were a little like, did you really have to do that? Or could you, oh sorry, I have a stress ball. I was like, did you really have to go like kill them? Because I don't know. I don't think that was very justified for some of them. Most of the people weren't very good people anyways. I was like, me, But overall, I thought this was a really straightforward, easy to read, easy to get into story, and I think a lot of people would really, really like this, especially if people are just getting into thrillers that are like serial killy. This is not overly grotesque, this is not overly gory or anything like that, and like I said, it is easy to follow. They're short, quick chapters, and you get the amount of information that you need to get. The information is not overly written or anything like that, and some thrillers that you would get. And honestly, it's just a very straightforward book, which I appreciate. So it was not a bad time at all, and I would say that this is one of Peter Swanson's better books that I've read. So yeah, if you're looking for a serial killer thriller that has not a lot of twists and turns, but pretty good twists and turns throughout, and kind of some red herrings thrown in here and there, then I think that you might really like this book. But I guess I can't tell you anything because I don't want to ruin it. But essentially this book is, there's a list that goes out to 9 people, and slowly these people on this list start dying. There is an investigation going on because one of the people on this list is an FBI agent, and she's trying to figure out who this killer is because obviously she don't want to die, and she wants to try to save all these people. And then you see the investigation with her and her partners trying to figure out how all of these people are connected, because some of these people don't know anything about the other people. And you have people of different walks of life. You have a teacher, you have a musician, you have a lawyer, you have an FBI agent, and it's very interesting to see how the FBI agents in this book think. I like detective thrillers, and when there is police, like when there is investigation and all that kind of stuff, I'm a person who watches a lot of true crime based on this, or for the psychological aspect of it, and I want to see why people do really horrible things, and that was a lot in here too. So yeah, not bad, not bad. But we're gonna spin the wheel again. So spinning the wheel. Sorry, whatever. At this point, are you surprised? What is that? What's that number? Ooh, a locked door mystery, and I have on there With a Vengeance. So we're going to be reading some Riley Sager. I've read all of Riley Sager's books except this one. So we're going to be doing that. I also have the audiobook for it. And it's also on my list of 25 books that I want to read for 2025. So that I only have like 5 more books on that list. I'm excited. So we're going to read With a Vengeance, and I'll let you know how I feel. Okay. We gotta talk. Oh, shit. We have to talk because I looked at the ratings for this, and this has like a 3.34, I think, on Goodreads. Something like that. And I don't see why the ratings for this are so low, because I am into it. It's fast paced. There's good mystery. There's a good twist to it. And I'm like, why are people hating on this so much? So essentially we have Anna, and Anna invites these people onto this train to get revenge for her family. 11 years ago, her family, like her brother was on a train and something happened to where he ended up dying. And then her dad ended up dying. And then her mother ended up dying. And these people that she invited on this train were somehow involved with her family literally being torn apart. So she wants revenge. And she invites all of these people onto this train to get her revenge. But something goes south and people end up dying. People are dropping left and right. And I am like, who is it? Because the person that I thought it was is no longer, like, you know. And I'm like, who can it be? Who can it be killing all these people? I thought I had it like down packed. I was like, oh, okay. I see why people are like, it's so obvious. But I'm like, am I a dumbass or something? Because it's not obvious to me. Because every time I think it's obvious, people just die. So there's a lot of red herrings, there's a lot of twists, there's a lot of turns, there's a lot of reveals in here, just like any Riley Sager book. And even though they're on a train and that's the only setting that they're in, I am not hating it whatsoever. I love me a good revenge story, and I love me a good locked door, locked room mystery thriller. And I am liking this a lot. Yeah, a lot. I don't know if it's going to be a 5, because for some reason I've never been able to give Riley Sager a 5, because his books, there's always something about his books that I can't just justify it being a 5. But I have a little under 100 pages left of this book, and I'm like, I want to get to the end to figure out what is going on, who is doing all of this, and I am enjoying this a lot. The audiobook is really good too. But it's intense, okay? It's intense. So I ended up finishing With a Vengeance by Riley Sager. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I liked it. Just like I said earlier, it's fast paced. There were a lot of twists and turns. I liked how resilient Anna was. and that she didn't really venture off from her ultimate goal. Even when all the killing started happening and when she started figuring out all of the, like, who everybody really was, and that there was multiple people on the train that she thought that were good people, but they ended up being, you know, like crap. And that some of the people that she thought that were super bad really weren't. I mean, they were bad, but they weren't that bad, you know. Anyways, she never strayed from her initial reasoning as to why she brought the people on the train and her ultimate goal for the train ride. And I liked her. I liked her a lot. I thought she was a very well fleshed out character. I thought that she had a lot of human to her. You know, she felt very real, and even though her reasoning might have been a little bit twisted, I sympathized with her a lot. She's been through a lot. She has dealt with a lot in her lifetime, and I think she's only in her, like, I think she's like 25, 26 years old. So she's had to deal with a lot of things in her life that she shouldn't have to. She doesn't have any family, and she wants to get justice for her family, and I completely understand that. And all the other characters too, I liked that we did get a little bit of background on them and as to why they did what they did. And they felt pretty human to me as well. They never felt two-dimensional. We got just enough information about them that wasn't overkill. And yeah, I thought it was a fun time. I had a good time with this. The last twist at the end, kind of saw it coming, but it didn't take away my enjoyment of the actual book. The reason why it's not a 5-star is because I just can't give Riley Sager 5 stars. I don't know why. Like, I keep buying all of his books. I read all of his books under this pen name, and one book, and that was the summer one. What was it? I'll put the picture right here. But it's the summer one, about the summer camp. That's the only one that I've given a 4.5. It's still 4, still a good time. I enjoyed it. If you like locked door thrillers / mysteries, I think you would like this. If you are into a good vengeance story, revenge story, I think you would like this. Don't let the reviews not let you read it. Okay? So we're going to spin the wheel and see what I have next. I have one book that I've had checked out from the library for a while. I'm really hoping that I get a number that I could read this book with, because my Libby for it is 3 days in and somebody else wants to read it, so I can't renew it. So let's see. What do we get? 19. Can you support that I need to read the book that I need to read? It's not the book, but it does give me a bingo. So 19 is to read a supernatural horror. I put on my little cart, or my little thingy, that I wanted to read the Hacienda. I've had the Hacienda on my TBR for a while. So I got a bingo. I have to read the book first, but girl got a bingo. Yay. I'm glad that the shelf in my room is getting some love in this video. So here the book is. Let's get to it. Let's read it. Tell me how you felt about this book and if you liked it. I've heard that it does have paranormal, but it's more of like a romance horror than anything, and I am into romance horror. So there the butte is.
It was moving. It lifted one arm, half bone, half rotting flesh, and seized the first pillar of the banister. It hauled itself up a step and raised its head to grin at me. It was a skull.
Fuck that.
Strands of flesh clung to it, and matted hair stuck to its crown.
I haven't had a book like. I haven't had a book. Sorry, I'm lost for words right now. I haven't had a book make me feel uncomfy like this one has, but in the best way possible, because what Beatrice is going through, I don't know how she's doing it, because I wouldn't be able to do it out of the house. Like, nope. Like this, the just impending doom that she's going through, and people around her know that stuff like stuff is going on, and she can't do anything about it because she's married to this dude named Rodolfo, and he is, you know, she is supposed to be his subservient wife and not supposed to have her own thoughts, but because this isn't written in the 1800s. And she's left in this house. Like, he goes and he just starts working out of town after he marries her, and she's left in this big old house by herself. And she starts hearing things, and she starts hearing doors slam, and she starts seeing things and all this kind of stuff. So she asks for help from this priest called Father Andres, and he comes and notices that something is going on in her house, and it's very sinister. But y'all, just the way that this author is able to write suspense and get you to just like jump in the story with these characters is fantastic. Again, I haven't read a book like this in a really, really long time. I can see why this book is compared to Mexican Gothic, because like the house situation, something nefarious going on, people knowing all that. And I haven't read Rebecca, so I'm not really sure about the Rebecca reference to like the Rebecca comparison to this book. But I am loving it so much, and my hands are sweaty because I am like feeling all the feelings while she's going through all this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, her husband is oblivious, and I just want her to be able to get through this and be okay afterwards. That's all. But the overall setting of the house, the overall setting of like the surroundings, the surrounding areas, and we have a lot of talk about race in here, a lot of talk about women's places in society. There is discussions of skin, like how people's skin looks, their color of their skin, racism, misogyny, all of that in here. And it's just done so well. It's done so well. And I'm really, really enjoying it. If it continues the way that it is, which I've heard that it does, this is going to be a very highly rated book. Like probably in top 10 category of the year, because this is just so freaking good. I am about 100 pages out from finishing it. I'll go ahead and finish it up, and I will let you know how I feel, and then we'll talk about stats for this video. Guess it would help if I actually got the book that I need to talk to you about. So I have been ranting and raving about this book to everybody except you, because I forgot to film the rest of this plus my outro for this video. I've been going through and editing and all that kind of stuff, and I was going to edit this video and I was like, I didn't even finish it. So I gave this 5 stars. I thought that it was exceptional. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the overall story. I loved the romance in here. There was just so, it was scary. There was a good amount of mystery in here. Like I said, the romance in here I really, really liked. I liked that we didn't get like a super romantic romance, because I think that it would have kind of taken away from the overall story itself of the house and how the house is pretty evil. And I think that this author did such a great job with like everything in this book. But 5 stars, thought that it was exceptional. I loved it. Can't wait to read more by this author. I actually have the Vampires of El Norte, is that what it is, on my bookshelf, and that's one of the books that I really want to get to at the beginning of 2026. So let's talk about the overall ratings and everything. We read horror, mystery, and thrillers in this. So I want to talk about those, like the 3 separate genres separately before we talk about like everything put together. So the horror genre, out of all the books that I read, it was, or out of the, I'm looking over here at my little spreadsheet thing. You'll see it on the screen, obviously. But out of the 6 books that I read out of this video, out of the 6 books out of this video were horror, and it was a 4.06. So that is great. Like, that is a fabulous rating. Mystery book, I read one of those in here, and it was a 5 star. So I can't wait to continue on with that series. And then the thrillers, it was 5 books out of all the books that I read, and it was a 3.8. I haven't had the best luck with thrillers this year, and that didn't surprise me, but I am glad that I did read the books that I read for the specific video. So the overall rating for everything is a 4.02, and I think that that is like top tier. It's fabulous. I read some really good books. I found some favorites in this video. I hope you enjoyed it too. I really hope that I can continue on with the bingo series in 2026 because I absolutely love it. It helps me read a lot of books off my shelf. Like, that is the main goal of these videos, is to read books that are on my shelf instead of going out and buying brand new ones, because I have plenty of books on my shelves that I need to get to before I, go buy new ones. So I am so excited about this video and about all of the books that I found and that I read and that I loved. There were some meh books in here, but obviously you always get meh books with all the books that you read. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I'm just very happy with this overall video and how everything turned out, and I hope you did too. So please let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this video, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.